There's somewhere we need to go. It's been shrouded for so long, there won't be any path for us to follow. The only person who knew the way is gone. But in my dreams, I swear, I've seen it. The mist-shrouded hills, the forgotten halls, the dungeon that never ends. It's like we've been there before, like this story is already a part of ours, like it's waiting for us at the edge of our imagination. That is where our journey begins. Ah, shit. I didn't check my camera. I'm so sorry. Hang on. Oh, it's a shit show. While I am doing this, how are all y'all doing? Chuck, welcome in. Lando, welcome in. Rad Luzair, welcome in. I'm like having a conniption trying to fix this and also say hi to everybody. The early crew came in so strong. I am so sorry. I will fix this right now. And it will be oh, damn it, that didn't fix it. Hang on. Gang, this is exactly hey. Chuck, Radu, Laser, DM Chris, Brad, Lando, welcome in, Crying Orange, great to see you again. Lester, welcome in. 30-06, welcome back, so good to see you too. Early crew came in strong. Y'all, I'm sorry. Here's the thing, it's been a long day. I don't want to hear it, actually. You have to plug it in. Have you tried turning it off and back on again? How are all y'all doing? You're too young to be a boomer. Listen, it's a mindset. The technological illiteracy is a matter of the heart. Your audio's a tad low. Oh my gosh, and I see that the music is a tad up. Let me just fix that. That should be better. Sorry about that. So what happened was, from the time I got off work to 13 minutes ago, I have been recording an actual play with some very, very lovely tabletop role players. And we're doing a CNC actual play that we're eventually going to premiere here on Twitch and on YouTube. And very, very excited about it. So we just wrapped and then I peed and now I'm here. So I didn't have a ton of time to double check all my stuff. And of course that's when all the stuff stops working the way it's supposed to. So haven't managed to catch a stream in a while because the time zones. Well, hey, it's been I think a week, 2 weeks. I think it's been 2 weeks since I've been live. I think I missed last week. So hey, same. It's great to have you back. Yeah, not filming, recording. My game fell through tonight, so came to hang. I had a procedure at the hospital this morning. Talk about early. Dude, I'm sorry. Are you alright? I hope that you're recovering as smoothly as possible. And I'm sorry that your game fell through, but I'm glad that you're here. You pulled a Chuck. I keep saying it. I've been spending too much time around the trolls, man. It's like bleeding into my brain. I've been getting unreasonably angry at like technological problems, like when something doesn't work right. I have resorted to hitting things, mainly the technology, which mainly doesn't help. And then when that doesn't work, I grumble. I've been doing a lot more grumbling. And I do kind of blame the trolls for that one, so what can you do? Hey, what can you do? What can you really do? But how are all you guys? How have your weeks been? How is everything? So it's a Steve stream, black screen session. I wish. Steve will not be joining us tonight. Steve said that he is building a wall. And I think we are welcome to take that to mean pretty much anything that we want to glean from that. So Steve is building a wall, so it's just me today. I ran 2 games last Saturday. How'd it go? Tell me about it. Did you guys have fun? This was a really fun game tonight. I'm very excited about it. We're doing a different kind of thing. We're doing a lot of like homebrew, and we're using some classes from the Adventurer's Backpack. And I'm really excited about it. I think it shows like the range and the versatility of CNC. So, Cryptrite, welcome in. I thought was building a mall. Not Steve. No, anything to do with like giant businesses is not really his thing. And so I take that to mean large, physically large geographic businesses, such as a mall. He's more into small businesses, so maybe a building, but not a mall. A mall for ants. Now that Steve could be talked into. Varl, it's been a while. How you been? It's good to see you. If I was Davis, I would have thought it was they're building a mall. Davis might be building a mall right now. I can't say that he's not. I heard he was attending a ball. Okay, we're not doing that. We are not just... Half my D&D 5e player showed Saturday at FLGS. Ran second half of A0 from Against the Slave Lords. Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. I'm facilitating a first-time players game this Saturday. Let's go. What system? I mean, we have a favorite here, but there is no wrong answer. We'll just be very disappointed if it's not Castles and Crusades or Amazing Adventures. That's all. Hopefully they turn into a long-term D&D player at D&D 5e. Hey, listen. Everybody's got to start somewhere. 5e is the first tabletop RPG that I played, and I do love it. I do love 5e. It'll always have a special place in my heart. Just saying. Castles and Crusades is better. That's all I'm gonna say. No, but I hope you guys have an awesome time. That's so exciting. It's always awesome to get like a totally new person into it, and I feel like those are always the best players because they don't have, you know, so any kind of like thought about how things like should be, and they just bring like wacky shit to the table, and I think that's a lot of fun. Aihrde, thanks for tuning in from YouTube. I started a new Grimdark campaign last week. Session was okay, but unfortunately I couldn't kill any player characters. I have hopes for next week. Now you know how I feel. Good work. I you know what? I believe in you. You're gonna get them. You're gonna get them next week, and I'm sending killer vibes your way. That's exciting though. What is like the basic premise of your campaign? Do you care to share? Because I would love to hear. And also Orange, tell me about your game. What's going on? Ours tonight was a little bit, I don't want to like give too much away, but oh man, how much do I even really want to say? I don't want to like spoil any of the fun. We're doing like an episodic series. I'll share the very basic bare bones of the premise. So we're following a group of 3 characters, and each session that we have will progress like forward in time, and there'll be like a new level every like session that we do. So it's kind of like a series of one-shots, and you get to see Castles and Crusades played out across like, you know, a bunch of different levels to see how the gameplay changes. And I'm very, very excited about it. This was our level 1 adventure, so we were playing, well, actually, never mind. I'm not going to share any more than that, because I will overshare and ruin the surprise, and I'm just excited about it, but I don't want to spoil anything. The new player's in a Lord of the Rings phase right now. Does the Lord of the Ring phase ever really end? I'll be GMing session 40 of my CNC Aihrde Darkenfold campaign Wednesday. Dude, tell me about it. What are your characters doing? Your players doing? And what are they fighting? What are they seeking? I do love the Darkenfold. It's definitely my favorite region in Aihrde. I love it so much. It's so cool. There's so much stuff in there. I haven't done much with D&D last week, but I did rebuild my computer from basic install. That was not fun. Good thing for Google Drive and backups. Backup, kids. It'll save you a lot of tears later. Always backup. Always backup. That phase ends. It does. You got out. What's it like? I say that, and I'm not even really like the biggest Lord of the Rings person. I liked the movies. I liked the movies fine. I don't know all the secrets and all the lore and all the stuff, but I do think it's a great story. I'm going to do a storyline set in the mainline campaign, having them find the lair of a group of cultists that will summon a fire elemental at the end, but they'll be able to investigate that the leader has stitch marks around his skull cap to create a plot hook to potentially get the new player addicted. Yes. Letting them, like, having something that seems straightforward, like defeat a monster or eliminate an enemy or whatever, and having that unfold into a greater mystery is such a good way to like get people hooked. That's awesome. The BBEG for that one-shot campaign is a mind flayer who will become the elder brain the players are currently dealing with in the mainline campaign. The successor! Damn, that's why you gotta cut the head off the snake. Where one elder brain dies, another elder brain takes its place. Razmataz, hello, welcome in. How's it going? They're in the process of fighting an orc ambush on their way to Alice from C2. Nice. That is very, very fun. I don't think I've ever ambushed my players. Why haven't I done that? An ambush is so fun. I was never in it. You drag them into a sword and sorcery phase or a weird fantasy phase. Say more. Do say more. I would love to know all about your weird fantasy phase. Hello, great. You? I'm great. I'm not at all flustered or disorganized. It's all smooth sailing here in the Troll Dens. I started this stream and had no camera, so we're having a time. That is anti-orc slander, sir, according to the new version of D&D. Listen, any excuse to put a little extra respect on the orcs is a chance that I will take. I love orcs. Their ranger and other PCs failed to detect the ambush. That's just the way of the dice, man. That's so fun, though. It's fun to, like, as a GM, like, see your plot work, you know? Because, like, so rarely do you get to do that, I feel like. Because most of the time you're setting up something knowing that it's going to topple. But to be able to, like, have your own plan and see it happen and like know they don't see you and you do sneak in, like it's kind of fun. So what are we doing today, or is it Q&A for the day? Listen, Orange, hold me to this. I'm putting you personally responsible. I'm going to read today. It is 8:14 p.m. right now. At 8:30, I'm reading. I'm going to read. We're cutting off the chatter. You body swapped them. I will do a body swap. You are the best boyfriend in the entire world. Do you want to say hi?
I will say hi.
Okay, that was loaded. It felt like. Everybody say hi, Knock. Hello, hello. He brought me a hot chocolate because he's the best boyfriend ever, and I haven't had dinner, and all I want is like a sweet treat. Thank you so much for this.
I heard you're gonna read by 8:30.
Can you hold me personally responsible?
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, stand in the background and screech if I'm not reading by 8:30.
Okay. Well. Whoa.
The inevitable, I want something sweet. Listen, I'm just a girl.
I'm his wife's boyfriend too.
Oh my god.
Sorry, gang.
Oh my god, this chocolate is just, it's liar chocolate.
Chocolate of infidelity.
It's the chocolate of infidelity. How could you do this?
You're not the only game in town.
Oh my god. Soak it in, toots. Howdy, and I want one low. DM Chris, here's the thing. And in fact, I'm going to put you all on something right now. Here's what you need to do. Hot chocolate, not a boyfriend. Suit yourself, more for me. Because, I mean, hubba.
Oh.
Here's the thing. You fill up half of your mug with Earl Grey tea. And then you heat up your milk and stuff. You foam your milk.
Foaming in this house.
In this house, we foam our milk. Then you add your hot chocolate to the Earl Grey tea, and then you add your milk. If you want, you add a little bit of powdered sugar and maybe a splash of vanilla to your milk. You have an Earl Grey hot chocolate, and it's better than normal hot chocolate. And you're welcome.
Full stop.
Full stop. That's all. That's it. I don't have anything else to say about it. I'm just gonna drink it.
Alright, 13 minutes.
Shit. Okay. I have to get my yapping in with you guys.
Yapping in.
He's gonna scream if I'm not reading by 8:30. Jace McLeod, welcome in. Masterpiece Theater presents Stories with Grace, 8 p.m. Eastern. Wacky and crazy tales and maybe even some stories about Aihrde. We'll see. Grace wants to hear all about your weird fantasies, boys. Wait. There's a reason I don't look in my Instagram DMs. He is probably on his way to star in a 70s movie. I mean, who can say? I mean, he's clearly got secret girlfriends, secret wives. I don't know what he's doing with his free time. Maybe he's starring in 70s movies. I love Earl Grey, but I want to try that now. You do. It's so good. It's so good. The Earl Grey flavor is like just enough, you know? And like it complements the chocolate so well and just and then like the consistency. I'm a person that doesn't like too much milk. I don't want it to be too like milky. You know what I mean? It's a texture thing. I don't like how it feels on my tongue. So it's watered down with Earl Grey tea and it's like a little bit of a looser, more viscous kind of liquid. I'm serious about chocolate, if you couldn't tell. I got my table to hang out with me in this comfy idle fishing game called web fishing during work. Are you serious? Thank you. Wait, I only want half of it. Thank you. I have a piece of cookie dough. This is officially the best day ever. I got to play Castles and Crusades. Work was really busy, but with like fun stuff. I have a hot chocolate I'm hanging out with you guys. And I have a piece of cookie dough. Have you ever tried Earl Grey ice cream? Westwind, first of all, welcome in. Good to see you. One of these days I'm going to figure out how to do a raffle on this stream. Yes, it's so good. And the brand, what's that brand we like of Earl Grey ice cream? It's like a Wisconsin brand.
Wasn't it like with a V or something?
Leuven?
Lewins?
Earl Grey ice cream. I don't even know what to begin searching for.
The honeycomb one is a banger.
Van Leeuwen's.
Yeah.
Van Leeuwen. I'm gonna link it directly because that's how good it is.
Oh my god, yeah. If you can get it.
This is the best Earl Grey ice cream ever. It's so good.
I get the honeycomb one. That's the best one.
Honeycomb is pretty good. The Earl Grey is amazing. That's it. Oh, that's the right one. Yes. Westwind. You got good taste, and so does your son. And a boyfriend that made it for you. It's always handy.
That's actually my only function.
Yeah, he's my hot chocolate maker. He's my hot chocolate machine. His body is a machine that turns components into hot chocolate. For weird fantasy to work, you introduce the the Grey Mouser style first, then you sprinkle in some Harold Shea, follow that with some Dying Earth. I know of that one. And then carry on to elements of Barsoom or Amber. Here's the thing. Explain it to me. Like, I am like a dash hound.
Explain it to me like I've never heard of any of those things.
Explain it to me like I've never heard any sentences in my life. Bookmarked that. Oh my god, Varl. You've got to try it. You've got to. It's so good. I think they carry it at Kroger. I'm eating the other half of a large dark chocolate cookie with dark chocolate chips. Lando! Ah! You're speaking my language. Backline, welcome in. Context for Grimdark game. The characters are looking for a guy known as Doctor who injured them in their path. That's so creepy. I love it. For now, the only clue they have is that some priests are feeding ghouls with human corpses, and that there is a nobleman who is carrying out these events, and the Doctor somehow wants to meet with this nobleman. So, the Doctor wants the nobleman, you get the nobleman, you get the Doctor. I love it. That's so cool. Also, Backline, welcome in. It's good to see you. I like grimdark campaign settings, and I think that's the only context in which I like grimdark things. I don't like grimdark novels. I don't really like grimdark, fantasy movies. And in fact, you know what? I say that, but as the words are leaving my mouth, I'm realizing I couldn't name a grimdark fantasy movie. I don't know if such a thing exists. But did you see? No! Orange, I didn't read it yet. I'm sorry. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that after this. I just said it as a casual thing. Well, hell yeah, I like reading stuff like that. I'm excited to check it out. I'm just basically a dash hound, so. I am Aihrde from YouTube, but I came to Twitch for the 200 message limit. Well, hey, welcome to Twitch. The party's here. What I really want to do is another chat plays CNC. My brain has been spinning on that. I am so ready to do another one. I think I want to try to do like one each month, like one kind of community stream per month where just like you guys are playing something. Because the first one was like the best time ever. I had so much fun. Don't think there are really any grimdark fantasy movies or shows out. Yeah, only thing I'm thinking of is Warhammer. That makes sense. That makes sense. My brain flashed like Rogue One at me, but I don't think that's grimdark. There isn't even really any cosmic horror out there either. Is there not? Is like King Kong? No, not King Kong. What am I thinking of? Not the gorilla big thing, the lizard big thing. Godzilla. Is Godzilla cosmic horror? Is Godzilla an alien? I want to chat play CNC too. Yes! It was so much fun. The result of atomic bombs. Interesting. Fafford and the Grey Mouser, Fritz Lieber, is not far off the Conan style, but the magic is far stranger. Less people know it these days, so you can pull right from the novels. That's awesome. That's fun. Hey, the best advice I ever got was that great writers steal. And in fact, that's the most consistent like writing advice that I've ever gotten from like writers that I've been privileged to know. It's that great writers steal. Aliens is pretty grim and pretty dark. Ooh, okay. This is my problem. Because I don't like scary movies. And I don't like sad movies. And so I haven't like seen any like grim dark stuff. Joel Kurowski, welcome in. Event Horizon. Ooh. I pop in as people are talking about grimdark. Yeah, you came in right on time. Are you a fan of grimdark? So, you know, on the subject of Aihrde, I'm eyeing the time. We have 4 minutes left. There's a Van Helsing movie. I'm not sure how grimdark it is, but there's Hugh Jackman. It's like being friends with Frankenstein and clashing with Dracula. That's awesome. Godzilla wasn't cosmic horror in the 70s, except when he used his breath weapon to fly, which is so funny to me. That's just a funny, like, the way that I, as a person who has not seen Godzilla, interpret that is like a giant creature screaming at the ground so hard that he like lifts off. And that's a very silly image to me. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so like the thing that I really appreciate about Aihrde is that it is grimdark. Aihrde is a grimdark fantasy setting. And it's marketed that way and it's written that way and it was always intended to be kind of grimdark. But my favorite thing about Aihrde, and specifically our Aihrde After Winter Dark products, is like the importance of hope in that story. I've talked about this before, but like we are kind of making our way through the Winter Dark right now as we're reading through the Codex of Aihrde, and it's just chapter after chapter of like the worst shit ever. And as you come out of it, it's not good. The damage isn't healed. It's just like the terrible god is like gone. But like not a lot is better. There's still monsters that are roaming the world. There's still the Tower of Aufstrag. There's still like prisoners and slaves and people being tortured. Like all the shit that was there before is still there. But it's a world that for the first time, like the future is uncertain and people have enough space to wonder what it might be like if things were different. And so I'm kind of I wrote a poem about Aihrde, and this is kind of the thought that like inspired the poem, that for a long time like Aihrde is a realm in which hope and fear are balanced and they coexist together. And for a long time through Aird's history, you had evil gods, but you also had like good-ish gods, and they were fighting each other, and there was always like a chance. And there was never a period where like everything was just smothered in horrible, horrible shit. And so fear dominated and hope fell out of balance. But like as we exit the Winter Dark, those things are in balance again. It doesn't mean that things are going to get better. It does not mean that things are going to get better, but it means that you can make it better if you try. And I think that is the thesis of Aihrde. As someone who did not write it,
And that's why Aird's important to me, and that's why I've been reading these stories for 2 years. Aihrde rules. We do have a minute left. I swear to God, I'm going to start reading at 8:30. Grimdark is the friends we made along the way. Barsoom is a series the trolls are prepping an RPG for. Indeed. Yeah, we have our Barsoom Pocket Atlas that's going to be coming out very, very soon, I believe. That's going to be sent out to backers of our Reforged Kickstarter. And if you missed that, I'm so sorry. Maybe we'll have the Pocket Atlas available in the future. Noble Dark is about finding the light in the darkness. Exactly. Is it time to screech? Yeah! Can you come over here and just do the motion that you did as you screeched? I just want them to see what happened. Yeah! Wait, one from the side. Amazing.
Clip that.
Don't clip that. And on that note, I'm sorry that like the last 4 minutes was kind of me just talking. I just like Aihrde, and I get carried away talking about Aihrde. I am pulling up the Codex of Aihrde because I didn't do it earlier because I forgot where I was. Okay. I was told not to read my son the story, my story, The Troll Queen's Feast. Do it. Here's the thing. Do it. He's got to know what troll queens eat. Okay. So, last we left off, Unklar has this dwarven servant named Dolgan. And Dolgan is not a super willing servant of Unklar. But what can you do, right? When the god of evil has you, just owns like your entire consciousness, basically. He has enslaved Dolgan with magic and is utilizing his skills as an unparalleled blacksmith to create the worst things ever. And Dolgan is really the first and maybe the only creature that has ever worked alongside Unklar as his equal, because the two of them spent a long time in the forges of Aufstrag called the Krummervold, creating monsters. I'm out of Aihrde material, so I'll be reading from this cool old used book I found, the Necronomicon. Everybody listen closely. It's my plan all along. So Unklar and Dolgan work in the Krummervold, and Unklar really struggles. And he labors alongside Dolgan, and it's really for a long time like the two of them side by side in a way that Unklar had not ever been side by side with anybody and wasn't ever since. But the two of them created these monsters, and I'm blanking on the name, even though they are like a huge, it's kind of like the token like monster of Aihrde, but I'm like blanking on it. No, it's the Hounds of Darkness. But they have a word. The Mogrel. The Hounds of Darkness. In doing this, Dolgan himself, through this like effort alongside Unklar, in sort of like a dramatic irony kind of way, that kind of makes me sad to read about, made himself into one of the Valtolmith. He achieved the heights of the Valtolmith, which, if you remember, is the closest a mortal person can kind of get to godhood. The Valtolmith are kind of like the Greek mythology equivalent would be like, you know, Hercules or like other demigods. But Dolgan alongside Unklar, they create the Mogrel. It's the most terrible beast that Aihrde has ever seen. And Unklar really expends himself creating these. And it's the first time he's really expended his effort on anything. But they complete it, and the Winter Dark Wars begin at this point. It has been pure kind of domination so far. Here we have the Winter Dark Wars. So I guess we will see kind of what unfolds from here. We have a few players working against Unklar. That would be Luther the Paladin. That would be, oh my god, Daladon Half-Elven, I believe. I'm blanking on the names. We'll see them. But we have some heroes that are working against Unklar. So we will meet them as we read. But thank you all for being here. I'm super excited to get reading. If you'd like, settle into whatever kind of like idle task you'd like to do. Whether that's like cleaning your space or doing homework or writing or working on something or drawing. I don't know your life. But settle in, get yourself a cozy beverage, maybe a blanket or a comfy sweater. And we're gonna read some stories about Aihrde. Trolls ah. And I'm gonna delete this giant thing from Windows. Okay. The Winter Dark Wars. In the 1003rd year of his reign, which is 1803 OY by the old calendar, Unklar unearthed knowledge of the dreaming, that sea of limitless thought that lay within and beyond the maelstrom, a plane that touched all the many diverse realms of the Allfather's devising. He knew not what the dreaming was, or how it came to be, and it was beyond the knowledge of his making. He became aware of Luther's presence on it, and he saw that people far and wide called to the Paladin god, and he knew then that the dreaming paladin, for so he named him, was the source of his own restless slumbers. In a fury, he returned to Klarglitch and fashioned warriors from his own ordered nightmares. These slivers of Unklar's imagining traveled the dreamscape, hunting the paladin. They fought on many occasions, but the paladin proved too strong and killed them or drove them off. These slivers weakened Unklar more than he knew, for when the paladin, who had become master of the world's dreams, fought the warriors upon the dreamscape, he woke from his own slumbers, so that he lived upon the dreaming, and he learned to enter the minds of all those upon the world, including the minions of the horned god. The paladin came to know lords of Unklar's realm, to understand their fears, their weaknesses. Because of this, Luther resolved to return to Aihrde and take up the long-abandoned war. It was during the Dreaming Wars that Luther learned that Dolgen, son of Herne, had gathered a host of slaves, dwarves, goblins, and men, and led them in a revolt in the very pits of Aufstrag. Many tales abound as to why Dolgen took up arms against his dark master. One recounted that he befriended an eldritch goblin, the very one who had sacked the dwarven kingdom of Grausamhart 3,000 years before, and that the two rose in rebellion together. Some tell how Dolgen could not bear the stealing of the Krummervol by Unklar, and he therefore threw off his shackles. The truth of the matter bore the likeness of no other tale, for Dolgen saw the unicorn. Devils brought the beast before Dolgen, burdened with a halter of barbed wire, so that whenever it bit down, the chain cut its mouth and throat. Stained with blood and the filth of the upper halls, they left it before the forge master. "Take this gift, Ongekront, from your master, for he is tired of its braying." Another spoke, laughing all the while, "But make me a pretty trifle, and I'll reward you with all the gems of the bone pit." Dolgen glowered at the pair for a moment. "Be off," before I take umbrage at your presence. You speak too freely, slave. I am a lord of the upper halls, and you should be wary of my wrath. Dolgan took up his forge hammer and smote the beast in the head such a blow that it came asunder, and the life of it spilled out upon the ground. He trod through the carnage of it, and made to strike the devil's companion, but that one fled in a madness of terror. The unicorn was barely alive, and Dolgan, seeing its wonder and beauty, took pity on it. Tuxlev, welcome in. He called for clean, cool water and quenched its thirst. Then for hay, and he housed it in a stable made for other beasts. But the unicorn never returned its strength, and it began to fade after only a few days. When the creature died, it gave Dolgan the right of its body, and he used the horn and blood of the creature to fashion an axe to rival the axe of the Allfather. This fell weapon he named Havoc, that is, in the ancient tongue of dwarves, revenge. Filled with all the hate of rage of his people, Dolgan turned on the darkness. In 1012 MD, Dolgan made war on the dark, raising the slaves of the pit in rebellion. He and Agmaur gathered goblins and dwarves, men and orcs, and fought the troops of Unklar in the bowels of the earth. Untold was the suffering of these battles, what men came to call the trench wars. The wicked battles they fought in dark holes and darker corridors, in pits, in tunnels, in dungeon caves, and halls of mud. They fought against the implacable enemy, for the masters of Alfstrog sent orcs, Ungern, and other creatures into the dark bowels of Alfstrog. Good and evil played no part in this war. Only a desire to be freed from bondage with life or death. Brevin, welcome in. Thank you so much. Knives and hatchets ruled the day, along with primitive powder weapons that left tunnels filled with mutilated corpses, smoke, and ash. At last, in the 1018th year of Unklar's reign, the dwarves and other slaves broke free and fled Alfstrog to the mountains in the north. During this chaos, as the horned god spent much of himself to unmake the damage Dolgan caused, Luther strode onto the plain, bearing the Durandale blade, the Val Austerlich of old. He came from the dreaming sea to the very gates of Alfstrog. There, he battled the guard for control of the wall, and they fell back in fear of the sword, and the paladin returned. He cut Jaren from the wall, another of the heroes, the Val Turlumph, whatever the word was. Where was I? I interrupted myself. Came from the dream sea. He cut Jaren from the wall and took him unto the dreaming, where he healed his wounded ally. Then Luther and Jaren journeyed to the Isle of Wonder, where Aesop the mage had imprisoned Aristobulus. They freed their longtime companion and slew Aesop, and traveled to the Eldwood to the grove of the great tree. We're getting the gang back together. In these later days, Unklar's power had waned, and those survivors who had hidden themselves for many years gathered in the Eldwood where the great tree stood. The watchers in the wood, the holy defenders of the flame, and others besides, gathered for war. Dolgan came, and with him Agmaur the goblin. They were joined by Nigold, the elven king, and all his folk, who were a wonderment in those days, for as is told, they had remained when the greater part of the elves fled the world, and elves were thought to be myths to many, and all these folk made war upon the winter and the dark. In the 1019th year of Unklar's reign, the Winter Dark Wars began. These are accounted the greatest of the wars of the peoples of Aihrde, for they fought alone, unaided by many of the Val Erechun until the end, and it ended the 6th Rin of the world. War spread far and wide, and in the space of only a few years engulfed the whole of the world, from the Greenling fields to the Horns of Ikem. The greatest part of the war took place in the lands of Ursal, for here the new gods, the Val Tolmith, came together to fight Unklar and his minions. In truth, Unklar had spent a great measure of his power in making the world his own. The creation of the Mogrel themselves cost him dearly, and he was not the power that he had been in the days of his coming to Aihrde. The captain kings could offer little aid to their master in his high tower, for they were pressed in their own domains by the many tribes of men. Though the Val Tolmith could not easily assail Unklar, they did free those in bondage. Narhite escaped through the aid and sacrifice of Aristobulus, and Wenifar through the love of Daladon. These were of the named Val Erechun. The tales speak of the binding of Wenifar upon Mount Mondrudge, where she gazed in timelessness at the mirror of Unklar's devising. This, of course, being the story where Unklar created a pond that was enchanted specifically to trap Wenifar whenever she looked into it. And it worked like a charm, unfortunately, and Wenifar had been there trapped in a mist-shrouded hill, staring into a pond for 1,000 years. So that's where she was during the Winter Dark. Word of her plight came to Daladon Lothian in the Eldwood, and he, traveling with someone called the Hapless Fool, came to the mountain, and there overthrew the snares of Unklar, and, passing through fire and ice, came to the roof of that place. He dismissed the mists, and found Wenifar motionless, gazing into the reflective waters. Daladon woke her from her stupor, and breaking the spell upon her, brought her back to the world. Wenifar gazed upon Daladon, and knew all that had come to pass, and more, and she loved him for his sacrifice, and saw that through him a greater power might come to the world. She lay with the half-elven, and he got her with child. She bid him leave her. But know that I shall come down from this mountain girded for war, and from you comes a great worry for Unklar. We shall hound him unto the end. And Daladon left her, passing back into the south and carrying the war on as was his wont. In 9 days, Wenifar bore a son, if only, right? And she took him to the edge of the dreaming and bathed him in the waters of that wide sea. Wenifar named her child Utumno, and he was a shadow of all creatures of the foul Aihrde, the Truval and the Unklar again. Unklar's creations, I assume. That is, the peoples of the world. And in him lay all their fears. In him lay all their fears. The fears of all the people of the world lay in him. She bid him take to the water of the dreaming, and learn all that he could of the world, but to find Unklar and his servants, and bring terror to them. For Utumno was the darker side of her, and though no evil flowed through him, his thoughts lay steeped in the black ink of fear. He took up the task and plundered the deeps of the sea, and found many who dreamed, and if these served Unklar, he haunted them, and their dreams fell way to nightmares. And thus it came to pass that many of Unklar's servants came to doubt their master and their future, and they began to suffer fear, and this weakened them, so that many fled or fell before the blades of the gathering storm. Utumno they named Lord of Nightmares, and deemed him the equal of Luther, who was Lord of Dreams. Luther always had the mastery in any contest, for in him, Utumno's own fears lay unmasked, and the echo of them laid bare. Of Rohaisenhol. As is known, the third Rin saw the birth of 5 dwarven kingdoms, accounted the greatest and the first homes of the dwarves. Of the 5, Rohaisenhola was the smallest, built beneath the wide, shallow dome of Mount Tur, overlooking the many islands of Hollow Sound on the northern shores of the Inner Sea in the lands of Ursal. Her people settled upon the slopes of the mountains, building towns and villages where they farmed and fished the plentiful waters of the Sound. When chance revealed a series of wide, deep caverns beneath Mount Tur, they turned to mining, and they unearthed metals and other wealth. They worked the metal into tools and weapons, and eventually departed their villages to dwell underground. The greatest of their people they named as their leader, and so Helgesthal came to the throne, and he founded the kingdom of Rohaisenhol. Helgesthal was called the Underking by his people, and from that day to this, his line has ruled beneath Mount Tur, bearing both his name and his wisdom. Helgesthal's people grew in both wealth and power. In working metals into wondrous devices, few matched their skill, and in stonework they stood above all people well versed in such arts. They alone mastered the art of binding metal into stone, a technique that allowed them to create wonders of art like the world had never seen. Patient in their labors, never hurried or pressed, they were much like the stone and iron they worked. Thus, they repaid the debt to the Allfather, made good their Andanuth, and they took the task to heart. At first, they made tools and weapons, armor, shields, and other devices, but eventually, they turned their minds toward Rohaisenhola itself. They widened the corridors and rooms and heightened the ceilings. They built meeting rooms and feast halls. They made houses, deep and wonderful, connected through lanes bored through the rock and across bridges suspended over chasms. They cast metal into all they did, and this allowed them to make shapes that no stone could hold. The halls of their kingdom reflected their skill, but these proved too simple a task, and they set to decorating all the surfaces of their realm with reliefs, tales of dwarves and the Allfather, of giants, dragons, and all manner of diverse subjects. We are talking about the dwarves. In time, the fame of their work spread far and wide, so that other dwarves came to see them and marveled at their skill. The dwarves of Rohaisenhola earned the name Stone Dwarves, and to celebrate their fame, they carved a single chair from a block of ironstone, and this they gave to Helgesthal Underking. From the iron rock, he and his kindred ruled for many thousands of years. Rohaisenhola suffered during the early Goblin Dwarf Wars, such that Helgesthal the Ninth Underking ordered the realm shut to the outside world, and their doors bound in the closing. He himself cast the runes of binding that closed all the gates to the outer world, and none knew the means of their opening. Once the doors shut, the voice of Mount Tur fell away for many long years. Not until a dwarf of Norgorod Cam came to the realm, seeking entrance, did Helgesthal the Ninth allow the gates to open. This visitor brought knowledge of the rings of brass, and they constructed one in the deeps of the realm, and the king set guards upon it, so that none could use it without his knowledge. And for a time, the realm was opened again. During this period, the stone dwarves trafficked with their kin, but less than they had in the past, for they had become an introverted people, and their numbers had not grown. The ring failed them, and with each use, it grew more fragile until it cracked and filled with mist, becoming a road to death only. To travel through it, cast one onto the road to the endless pools, where the listless dead wandered without guidance. After some years, Andarag II, grandson of Helgeslol IX, called off all labors to repair the ring and ordered the ring room shut and sealed. The king ordered the outer gates opened so that his people could see the light of day upon the steppe. But they would not yield, for none now remembered the words of binding as spoken by Helgeslol. And the dwarves took this as a sign, and they remained underground ever after, and men forgot them, and the dwarves remembered them only as a legend out of time. Thank you, Warchoma. They dwelt thus for many long centuries. The peace of their halls ended when the dwarves of Rohaisenhola fell victim to the stone curse. For many centuries, they lay bound in their halls beneath Mount Tur, sealed there by their king's magic. The curse settled into the people such that any light greater than a torch destroyed them, causing their skin to calcify and turn to stone. Many died, and many more became horribly disfigured by the curse. It bound them in a world of darkness, and all the great wonders of their past were lost in the shadows of the halls. The curse ruined the stone dwarves. They became ever more insular, shunning all contact, eventually leaving their upper halls and burrowing deeper into Mount Tur. The ages forgot about them, and only rumor came from Mount Tur, and it spoke of a people lost to the world. In time, few had even heard of the realm, and those who had believed it long gone, consumed by time and happenstance. So why talk about Rohaisenhol now? In the middle of the Winterdark Wars, during the long centuries, the fire giants came from Aufstrag and settled in the hills around Mount Tur. They unearthed the upper halls by accident and plundered them of what wealth they could. One amongst them claimed it as his realm. Norwich the fire giant ruled there for many years, and his kingdom spread through the whole of the hollows, and he spread terror to all who dwelt there. The reign of Norik ended when Daladon Half-Elven came to the dome of Mount Tur, and with the power of Wenifar broke it open, uprooting the fire giant king and all his people. They battled upon the ruin of Mount Tur for many days, but the giant proved the lesser, and he fell into the ruin of the dwarven halls and passed from the world. Those of his people who survived fled into the wilderness. In his ruin, Norik broke through the upper halls and revealed the wide realm of Rohaisenhol to all, and they were amazed. When the dwarves of Rohaisenhol were unearthed, and their realm made open with Norik the fire giant's fall, the realm shook to its deepest foundations. Deep in the hole, where the ring of brass stood in its guarded chamber, the seals broke and laid the room open again. As is known, the ring of brass in the hole opened to the Ark of Time and the endless pools, where Toth, shadow of the Allfather and keeper of the dead, dwelt. Toth saw that the shadow was frayed, and the wall of worlds was no boundary to the endless pools. He contemplated the opened gate, and wondered what it meant for the Gonfod, that is, the prophesied end of days. A desire rose in him, as great as any that afflicted all the named Val Ericune, and even the shadow of the Allfather lusted for creation, but he would not have it so, and so he set his desire aside and gave thought to other riddles. Toth's desire took up a life of its own, and it knew no thought but to cross the boundaries and come to Aihrde, there to guide and aid the children of the Allfather and teach them the knowledge of all things. It stole away through the ring, and came by dark passages to the ruin of Mount Tur. There, Toth's shadow passed Daladon half-elven as he slept, tethered to his steed. Seeing the horse, Toth's desire took on its shape, and crossed the snow-covered slopes with a great speed, passing into the south. There stood the small town of Haven, racked with death, for the giants had laid it low in their flight from Daladon and the ruin of Nurik's realm. Toth's desire, long exposed only to the restless dead as they walked the ark, grew cautious, for the suffering of death was new to him, and he did not understand. He approached all those who wept and touched them, and their grief passed into memory, and they knew the wholeness of it, but without its previous suffering. One such was Philip. His 3 children, warm in their grave, were foremost upon his mind when he spied the steed. I know not who you are, but I see that you bring comfort in my people's grief, and this time of sorrow and tumult. As such, you can only be one of the gods. He fell to his knees and worshipped Toth's desire, and called him Oritsar, which was, as to name him, beyond grief. And thus he, Philip, became Oritsar's first follower. Philip became a pilgrim and traveled the war-racked world and spread the word of the god far and wide, and carried the comfort of him to many diverse peoples in many realms. And Toth knew then that part of him had taken on a life of its own, and he accounted himself truly the shadow of the Allfather. As the war spread, oh gosh, it's 9 p.m. Okay, do we keep going? I leave it up to you guys. Do we keep reading or do we just chat? I leave it up to you guys. I love this part of the Winter Dark War, when people start fighting back and Unclar gets his shit kicked in. But yeah, tell me what you guys think, because we can either keep reading, or we can do like an Aihrde Q&A. We can talk about Aihrde, we can talk about world building, whatever you guys want. Is there more naughty stuff? There's not much more naughty than the god of evil. I did laugh a little bit when I saw the phrase Underking. Here's the thing. Maybe this is like Gen Z humor. I don't know how many of y'all are like Gen Z or millennial here. I'm never gonna say power bottom again. It's Underking. It's Underking from now on. Henceforth. But yeah, from here we get into the war, and more details about the war. So we can decide if we want to chat about that, or if we want to like do Q&A and talk about Aihrde and talk about world building and the things that inspire us. Maybe a better question is, at this point, do any of y'all have like questions about Aihrde? I'm not the best person to ask. I'm not Steve Chenault. I'm not the creator of Aihrde. But I can go on and on about it. Destroying that hot chocolate. Dude, listen. I demolished this. It's so good. Add Earl Grey. Do yourself the favor. Honestly, you owe it to yourself to add Earl Grey to your hot chocolate. Man, those of you that know Johnny Omaha, who is another of our community members, And he's awesome, and he hosts our new YouTube series, Behind the Keeper's Screen, where he talks to castle keepers about their actual plays. He sent me this compressor mic. I need to get a hold of him and message him about it, because I cannot figure out how to like get it set up. I'm doing something wrong. But I think it would be cool to use like a compressor mic and like actually record like the Codex of Aihrde. I know that we're like doing it live, and that's fun. But it would be cool. It would be very, very cool to like do a recording of it. I think that would be fun. Wait, brew the Earl Grey and then add hot chocolate? Yes, here's what you do. You fill up your mug halfway with like Earl Grey tea. You brew your Earl Grey tea, you fill it up to here. Then you steam your milk. We froth our milk, but get hot milk. If you want to really go off, add some powdered sugar and a splash of vanilla extract. And then you combine all that stuff, and it's excellent. I've been trying to figure out having a mic with a voice mod for IRL games, but the double voice just throws people off. IRL, it would be tough. Like digitally, I'm sure you wouldn't have that problem, but yeah, IRL might be like rough because you're hearing twice. That would be cool though. It would be different without the asides and conversation. I know, like that's the only thing. It's fun being able to like, because it's a long book. And I guess anyone listening to a recording of it, like maybe they would, you know, listen to it chronologically and get everything that's like being referenced, but I forget stuff seconds after I like speak it, much less like read it. So I don't know, it's nice to be able to like aside. Of what now? Of what? Of who? Jeremy, welcome in. A cheers. Dude, Earl Grey hot chocolate. You should have some. It's awesome. It's so good. Yeah. It's pretty great. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say about it. I've been talking way too much about hot chocolate tonight. And in fact, I'm going to drink some water. How are you doing? How's stuff? Yeah, man, a voice mod would be cool. I've been like thinking about how I can try to like make streams more fun, and maybe like voice mods, and like figuring out some more stuff on Streamlabs, and like I don't know, I want to make it more like interactive where you guys can play around with stuff. Tired? Yeah, that sounds about right. How was work, buddy? Voice mod is an app if you want. Man, shows how much I know. I'm putting it in my voice mod. Then I'm gonna check it out. Really what I should do is get a stream deck. I've been like putting that off. Just got done. Well, hey, kind of like same. Well, we're not done. We're not done here. Got a lot of important stuff done, but it all starts again tomorrow at 8. Anything to share? Anything perhaps to share? Which I'll take this moment to say, Jeremy has been like refreshing our Patreon, and it's super, super cool now. Let me pull it up right quick. I'm just gonna link it really quick. If you guys want, do not feel pressured if you are not in a position to be like giving money on like a monthly basis. No pressure, no shame, nothing like that. Here's the thing. We have about like 3,000 Twitch followers, I think. 3,070 something. And we have a pledge tier that's $1 per month. If everyone donated $1 per month, we would be able to do so much cool shit. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. But we have some pretty cool perks on our Patreon. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month and get some cool benefits, or you can go up to $15 a month. Which also, you know, $15 isn't crazy, but we just like refreshed like the rewards on there, and it's kind of exciting. I think it's pretty cool. So if you want, check it out. all the support like adds up in a huge way and makes it possible for us to spend our time doing like increasingly cool things and publishing new material. So, and paying artists. A lot of it goes to paying artists. I'm just here for your lead pipe cinch. Wait, what? Lead pipe cinch, 4-star rated, can't miss, Super Bowl picks. Ooh, okay, I've got your Super Bowl picks. You're gonna want the one with the shoulders, and you're gonna want the one with the hair. There's your picks. There's some picks. You're gonna want the one that's good at football. Almost forgot about that. You're really gonna want the John football. You're gonna want John football. You're gonna want the one that's really good at. You get the best one at football. I don't get why it's hard. Finished cleaning up gods and legends. Damn, that's a big job. Met with judges and backups for the GaryCon tournament. Uploaded stuff to Patreon. That's a big day. That's exciting. That's very exciting. Ah, GaryCon. How many of you guys are going to GaryCon? Because I can't wait. Very, very excited. Have you thought about doing it like fighting fantasy style stories where people interact and decide where to go and actions to do like you did in the RPG game the other week? Ooh. So, do you mean like instead of running a game, like telling a story, but instead of like, you know, reading a story, having it be like a choose your own adventure type like story? Because that sounds very cool. What's the over under on Taylor Swift appearances on camera? We do not get political on Trollord games. I'm not gonna say anything about billionaires. I really want to, but it's not in the cards. Ah! I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear it. It's such a bummer. Hey, so I'm new to the channel. What do you do on these streams? Do you have a regular night? New guy, Star Blazer, welcome in. Thank you so much for popping your head in. Yes, we do this every Monday. We go live at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then usually what's supposed to happen is that it's supposed to be me and Steven Chenault, who is the creator of Aihrde, which you might recognize from the title of this stream. And I read stories from the Codex of Aihrde, which is 12,000 years of recorded history of this fantasy setting that we have like produced and that we sell, and I just read the history of it, and then ideally Steve and I answer questions about Aihrde in like the latter half of the stream, but Steve's not here, so we break all the rules and chat about whatever we want. And also answer questions about like Aihrde and fantasy world building, and then we also have 3 other weekly shows. There's one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, and one on Thursday. And those are also a lot of fun. If you come hang out on Twitch, our full schedule is here on our channel. But yeah, if you like fantasy tabletop RPGs and talking about them a lot, like and subscribe, like and some crime, smash that dislike button. Here's the thing, I started this stream with no camera, so we can only go uphill from here. Some crime. Yeah, I cannot wait for GaryCon. I'm so excited. That's always like the best time of the year is GaryCon. Speaking of GaryCon and the best, Sammy. Hello, hello. How long has it been? It's so good to see you. How's everything? Nice. It's nice. It's fun. We have a good time here. Sometimes I get like caught up yapping and we don't read very much. This time I feel like we read a good amount. We read for like 30 minutes. It's pretty good. Could be worse. It could be quite fun if you also did the artwork at the same time to tell the story along the way. Do you want more of my artwork? Wait, can I like add let me add, what was his name? Cashew McDubbins. Hang on, do I have him? I'm gonna put him on screen. I've gotta have Cashew McDubbins. which if you don't know what I'm talking about, here we go. Our boy, my man Cashew McDubbins. The other week I hosted a stream here where we did a chat plays tabletop RPG night, and I ran our lovely chat here through a tabletop adventure, and against the odds, against my efforts, they survived this time. And a full video with like the highlights of that stream, like a 3-hour stream cut down into like a 28-minute video, is up on our YouTube. I'm super proud of it. It took me way too long to edit that down. But I think it's very funny. It was such a fun stream. I just smashed a workout. What'd you work on? Was it back day, leg day? I did legs with my little brother, who I've talked about on the stream before. He's like, I have nothing to fear from anybody because my family is full of the most like athletic people in the world. And my youngest brother in particular is terrifying. Just the strongest person ever. And so needless to say, he killed me on leg day. It was a problem. It wasn't properly CNC. We crossed a river in a few minutes with no casualties. Here's the thing, Manfred. I don't want to hear it. You glided over a river on a flying squirrel. You want to talk about it wasn't CNC, then you get in the water and you cross a river with honor and give me a fair shot. Did you find a creative solution to the problem? Yes. But I didn't get to almost kill you, and so I'm going to sulk about it. Killer fish can leap out of the river and bite. Damn it. You're so right. Why didn't I think of that? I wish you'd said it why didn't you say that to me during stream? I could have used it to kill you. I do have some ideas for streams. Let me see if I can like find these. Not that one. Okay. Hang on. I have ideas, but I've like buried them in different notes that are like not relevant. Damn. I don't know. All right, well, I'm not gonna look for it. Something that I wanted to maybe try. Can I remember? Okay, I think I remember what this concept was. Something that I wanted to try. Was having you guys play as like an adventurer or an adventuring party. I'm trying to like remember what this was. And then I think it would be fun to take it out of my hands a little bit and have ChatGPT play the part of like an evil sorcerer who has like a dungeon that you're fighting through. And so I would ask you guys what you want to do, and then like take your action as you like proceed through this dungeon, and then ask like the fucking like stupid AI slop sorcerer how he wants to stop you. And see who wins. And I think I can put a bet on it. I'm not a betting man, but I think I could bet on this one. I just think that would be fun. Our game club has one rule for players. Do not feed the screen monkey, aka the DM. Oh, come on. You can't be bribed with snacks? Or threats? Also, this is my 50th year as a DM. I know all the tricks. I'm going to catch up. One of these days, I'm going to catch up. I got up to 110 on the rotary torso. The rotary torso. You got up to 110 on the rotary torso. You're scary. That's the machine, right, where you like kneel in it and you're like turning your torso, correct? I love that machine. I think the highest I've gone is like 90. 110 is crazy. Dude, you are a beast. That's awesome. Try the shoulder press. That thing is a torture machine. Man, shoulders are up. So I think shoulders and calves are my least favorite things to work out. They're so hard. I write short stories for bedtime to read to my son, but generally I leave the ending open for his input. And very often he has amazing ideas for how it could go that leads me off on tangents. That's awesome. Man, hang on. I'm going to write that down because that is a really, really good idea. Stream idea. Chat completes a fantasy story. And we like tell it together. That's awesome. I've been doing pole classes too. Man, that sounds like so much fun. I was doing aerial silks for a while and it's like the best and I miss it every day. I like exercises that take me up, you know, like up into the air. That's so much fun. But yeah, collaborative storytelling with like, I mean, well, like tabletop RPGs are, you know, collaborative storytelling, but like just, you know, storytelling with like just, you know, doing a story and then working together on like what happens and the ending and such. I think that's awesome. That's so fun. And especially kids, like kids just want to be a part of stuff. And so bringing them into like a creative thing like that and like getting their input and then like bouncing off of the things that they say, like you're collaborating with them. That would have made me feel so good as a kid. That's so awesome. I'm so glad that you and your son do that together. I bet that's really, really fun for him. So here's the thing. I'm gonna see if there is somebody that we're able to raid. Willie! Willie, I didn't see you come in. It's so good to see you. Tuning in from Puerto Vallarta tonight. Dude, that's awesome. How have you been? It's so good to see you. Are you going to GaryCon? Please say yes. He also tells me what he wants stories about or just gives me a title. Like he wants a story about his cat. That's so sweet. I'm not as confident with like the improv, but that seems like a really good way to like develop that skill, you know? I wrote one about his cat being a monster to a family of rats. I feel like that would be fun. That'd be fun for a kid. I'm gonna find somebody to raid. Let's check out this stream. This seems cool. They're doing a tabletop RPG. It's not 5e. So let's toss a raid because I haven't really eaten anything and I'm very, very sleepy, tired, and losing steam. And I think my voice is starting to go. But for all of you who hung out, thank you so much. This has been such a fun stream. And thank you for like bearing with me through the chaos of figuring out how to turn my camera on and all that stuff. But we're gonna go. We're gonna raid into Just the Human. They're playing, I think, like a One Piece themed tabletop game. I think. Should be. If you have time, please do stick around and just like say something nice to the streamers. It always like makes people's night. I know I say this every time. But thank you all so much. You could have been anywhere on this Monday night and I appreciate you spending it here listening to fantasy stories with me. Thanks for hanging out. It always means the most. And I will see you tomorrow for another episode of Blood and Briar. I had the flu and one of our players was not available last week, so we're going to pick it back up tonight. And I'm very excited. So come hang out 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, same channel right here. And then on Wednesday, I think I'll be streaming over on twitch.tv/Hearthcoven Games with our Cyberpunk Red game. And in that one, I'm a player. And I play a really hot person named Ajax, and it's a lot of fun. So thank you all again. Really appreciate you being here, and I will see you next week. And in the meantime, go in peace, make the words, and do good. Goodbye!